Okay, everybody, this is the day traders versus the weekly outlook for September the 14th, 2025. And we're going to start by going over last week's setup. So, like we just mentioned before I hit record, um, we are going over our setup on gold. And we look at our setup on gold. We were expecting for it to kind of hold here or push down and hold here or hold somewhere inside of this range, anywhere inside of the fair value gap right here. And we pretty much did that on going in on the rest of the week. I had a pending order that was right here. And no, I'm sorry, it was here. That pending order was here. Um, I think I did try to put a pending order down here, but you'll see when I show you the charts today, we bounced off of this level and we didn't tap. We bounced off of this mid-level price right here instead of coming all the way down here, which sucks because I did have that pending order. And if you once you see the move and this price point, which is 3623.4, that's pretty much where the low was over here on gold for this day. So didn't quite get my entry pulled in, which is, it sucks because I had the right setup, but I just didn't have the right entry place. And we ran up like we expected to, but we kind of went sideways. We didn't actually take out this high again. So this high is still in play. Let me move this over here. I don't know why that's right there, but so I'm still expecting us to come down into this area because there's a fair value gap that got inverted, and then there's another smaller fair value gap in here. So going into next week, that's pretty much what I'm expecting still. Um, and then if we do just push up, we do. I'll be looking for us to take out this high. Let me, I'll be looking for us to take out this high, this fresh all-time high we just made. And that'll be our initial target. And then after that, we got 3,700 as the next price point. That's pretty much our next whole number. So this is the setup on gold. This is the setup on gold. And let me drop this in the chat. Um, and before I just go ahead, let me just look and see what dollar is doing because I didn't look at dollar beforehand. But that's gold. As you can see, um, like I was saying, we pretty much held around that 3623.4 area. We did manage to reject that area and push up. So now we kind of sitting around these highs right here. And what I'm looking at dollar is like last week, this was our low that we were going to target and it took it out. And we set a new low, the weekly low right here on dollar. This previous week low. And then so now going into next week, you can see like we said before on dollar, we got to find something in these engulfing candles that we probably can make a high at. And we made highs inside of this 1 hour fair value gap. And we even tried to trade through it, but we came right back down and traded into it. And then now we have a candle that didn't close below a candle and it didn't close above a candle. So we kind of sitting sideways. This is a 50-50 candle. But we still bearish because we took our highs here and we made a new high, but it's a lower high. And we confirmed that we made a high, we made a higher high, then we made a lower high. So this is still telling us we still kind of bearish. So I'm still going to look for first This is our target. Uh, this is our previous day low. So that's the first thing we'll look at. That's Thursday's low. And then still have last week's low. And then we have another previous week low right here. So those are, I would say we would take those before we take these. So that's why I'm still looking at downside pressure on dollar. And then once we because we got the interest rate next week, which is on going to be on Wednesday. Let me just double check that. I think it's on Wednesday for next week. This was last week. This was last week. So we had kind of mixed numbers. We had flat almost CPI, which we had -1% on PPI. And then we had CPI up again on CPI. The projection was 0.3%. We ended up being at 0.4%. So the consumer price index basically said we increased by 0.4%. So we're actually up higher than we projected on oh no, I'm sorry. We were flat on our projections. So they said we come in at 0.3%, which is still high. And then on that's on core, but once you add in all of the numbers, um, the PCI came in 1%, 0.1% higher than expected, where total CPI was 2.9%. Then we actually kind of came in a lot higher than expected on the job unemployment claims. They projected us to come in at 235, and we came in at 263. And this is unfortunately minority numbers are actually coming in a lot higher than what they're actually projecting, uh, where the unemployment rate is sitting somewhere around 4%. Minority unemployment rate is estimated to be around 7 to 7.5, and maybe even 8% in some instances. So if you got a job, be thankful and be grateful for that. Uh, your consumer sentiment is slightly worsening. It's slightly worsening. They expected a 58.2%. It came in at 55.4. Inflation expectation came in at 4.8. And then, like I said, we do have next week, we have retail sales. They're expecting those retail sales to come in at 0.4%, and that's at core. And then total retail sales at 0.2%. We have the Fed rate on Wednesday, 20.25 basis points is the projection. And we can see that also. Let me see the CME Fed Watch tool. A lot of people use the CME Fed Watch tool to get their estimations on what they believe the rate cuts will be. Right now, they're banking in a 96.4% chance that we'll go from currently at 4.5 to drop down to 4.25. So right now they're saying 96% chance that they'll do a smaller rate cut than a half a point or so. Let me send you guys this. Okay. And right now, this is important. What they do with the interest rate right now is important. And it's again like the once they lower the Fed interest rate, they typically lower all of the borrowing rates. So that's your uh, personal loan, business loan requirements. That's your auto loan. That's your home loan. That's your credit cards. So any type, once you see that they're lowering this rate, they typically lower the requirements and the rates to get those other type of loans because essentially what they're doing is they're trying to spark a new influx of demand into every type of industry, right? So they're trying to get the consumers to spend more money, essentially is what they're doing. So when they're trying to get us to spend more money, they're going to start offering us more benefits, more credit, more lines of credit, more means to access money. Because now that the borrowing cost is going down, they can offer you new debt, basically, which actually sucks because when you do that and we're already inflated, once that demand outweighs the supply, it starts to make stuff go up higher in price. And that's why the feds have been like holding off on raising the rates because everything already costs a lot right now and they don't want things to cost higher than they already are. And so they've been like holding off on raising the rates because of that. So because they already know like, hey, once we've purchased through all the demand and supply and we borrowed all the money and all that other kind of stuff, they're going to start charging more for the things that they are offering us, or and they're going to make the requirements stricter because people have outspent, in a lot of cases they've outspent what they can actually afford. So there's a lot of psychological stuff behind this and a lot of economic stuff behind this and data that proves that this is the case. But um, with things like the tariffs that have happened, slowing down spending, they need a new influx of spending to happen. And this is what they're hoping will trigger it. Um, So yeah, and then next week we have like I said, we have the Fed rate, FOMC statement around 2 p.m. And then we close out the rest of the week. We got unemployment claims on Thursday. And then on Friday, it looks like we got a clean slate for US news. And that'll be our week for the 14th. A lot of red candles, but not a lot of U.S. Uh, candles. U.S. not a red candle, but a lot of U.S. Not a lot of U.S. red folders, but we do have a major one. Then, as far as earnings go, it's kind of light. We don't have a huge earnings calendar this week. Um, Looks like the biggest one we got GM, Cracker Barrel, which has been a topic of discussion of late. They still using the old logo, so they and then the FedEx reporting Thursday, and really nothing outside of that. So as far as the earnings go, we don't have a lot, but we'll probably need to pay attention to how Nvidia reacts to this interest rate cut. The Mag 7, how they react to the interest rates. That'll probably be what is our catalyst going into the next week. But back to the charts. And so on our goal setup, like I said, gold and dollar, we'll look to see how we respond. Let me pull this up a little bit. We'll look to see how we respond um, as we trade into and below this level. Uh, that's our most probable area, right? We still could see this high getting taken out, which is definitely a possibility on dollar. And if that does happen, that means gold will retrace. Um, but we could also just go sideways. So on this dollar setup. So that's why I'm kind of hesitant on it for now. To push up higher, I'm kind of still leaning towards pushing to the downside because we still have these very, very nice lows below us as targets. So that's kind of the logic of why I'm still holding bearish on dollar. Because until we can prove that we can get a strong bullish engulfing candle above another high, then you got to stay bearish on dollar. So let me send this. All right. And this is Dow. Look at Dow real quick. So Dow was doing kind of his own thing. The logic for this, the rest of the end of the week was either we buy up, take out this high from here, we buy up and take out this high, and we either trade through this inverted fair value gap and then use that as support to take out these two highs, right? That was the logic, right? And if we didn't do that, we would just sell off, take out this low and this low by us either just selling off hard or selling off, rejecting it, and using that to go to the downside. And we took the upside move, but even though that upside move happened, it wasn't necessarily the cleanest move, right? It was just kind of like forced up, right? And you had a lot of divergence between ES, NQ, and Dow, where you know Dow was selling off, Dow was pushing up by itself, ES was stalling, NQ was selling off. Like it was a lot of mixed price action. So it was kind of hard to gauge how we should react to this. Um, and if you look down on the lower time frames, you can just kind of see it was just stalling, 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 stalling. Then we had our 8:30 news and it sold off and then it pushed back up. And then it just kind of blew through the highs, right? Without really giving an entry for a secondary entry. You would have just had to kind of jump in at market open. And then the 10 o'clock candle, which we would normally like to see, the open of the 10 o'clock candle was here. And we just kind of just went higher sideways. So I would not like, I wouldn't, that doesn't look like a clean setup for me unless I'm taking it here off the notion that um we just gonna react positive on the open, So I didn't see a setup. And then Friday, we kind of just chopped down. Um Nothing really worth trading to me personally on Friday. Um we did get a little setup around 10:45. Maybe you could have took that to sell, but nothing great. Nothing really great. But if you did take it, I totally understand why. And then, you could have been looking at this as a fair value gap on the 1 hour. And we had two. We had this huge engulfing candle, and then we had one up here. Or you could have looked at it from the 4 hour where we still got the two, where we had the low, the high, and then the midpoint right around here. We had the low, the high here, the midpoint around here. So you could have been trying to trade in here, but and that makes sense, as to why you would have been doing so. But you know, it it was kind of weird. It was kind of weird. Um, Interesting. All the stuff I already had done is not showing up on my charts for some reason. Let me refresh this. Right. Okay, cool. Like what? I know I had already done this. Okay. So going into next week, I am going to be looking at something along these lines where we get our price. We either continue to the downside and back into this range. There's a little inverted fair value gap right here that we never traded back down into, and is right by the monthly. So maybe we want to retest the monthly, and if worst case scenario, we try to go down and sweep these lows. So that'll be a um, potential use case, potential trade setup, and then maybe we sell, maybe we push up and we continue up to the upside, or we reject around this little order block right here on the lower time frame, and then maybe get a bounce that way, and then try to take these lows. But the other choice is we just push on up, and then our next target is this new fresh all-time high, and then we also have 46,000 right above us, 46,500, 46,250 area as well. So I would be looking for somewhere inside of that range for us to target at after we break these highs. So if we push up above these, that's where I'm thinking that we going to after that. So that's Dow. And just the way I like to look at it, y'all, is trade the one that give you the best setup. And that's why I look at all three, because sometimes, mostly I trade ES, but sometimes ES don't give me what I need to see. Sometimes ES doesn't give you the clear setups. Sometimes NQ give you a better setup. Sometimes Dow gives you a better setup. So I just look for the one that's giving me the best setup. And sometimes none of them give you the best setup. And then that's why you got to look at gold. So you just got to look at the one that's giving you the clearest setup as to what you normally would look for on the charts. So if I like to see a fair value gap get inverted to take the buy or the sell, then I'm gonna do that. But if I don't see it on ES, I'm gonna look for the same thing on NQ. And if it ain't on NQ, I'm gonna look for it on Dow. And then if I don't see any divergence where one high is making a high, if two are making the same high at the same time, I still might not trade those. I might take something else as well, because I want to see divergence. I want to see my setup entry styles, and I want to see us inside a fair value gap or order block. So that's kind of the logic behind looking at all three pairs.
On 1 hour, what was your target for Dow?
For Dow,
Yeah, yeah.
the upside target is 40,
Yeah.
is the all-time high, and then 46,500 area.
So
Or
you are just
it's
taking 500 and 1,000 like that?
Well, or you can look at the 250, 46,250 area, but that's just above this high.
Okay.
So, um,
Sure.
You know, when you get up above these new highs, it's like you kind of got to make up your targets based off of the quarter points.
Yeah. So I did that like as we used to do that with fib, right?
Which one?
Fib, with fib, we used to take
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah, you can use that too.
Yeah.
You
So
can.
last week my target was 46,210. So it tapped that, means not exactly, but it is almost there.
Yeah,
Now it's too high, means that was 27%, right? Now I'm looking for 61, so that is little high, 47,335.
yeah. That's the last low. That's the last high. Looking at this, we get a 46,383, 46,643, and then 46,940. If we throw the negative.
This is on 1 hour, right? When I put that on weekly, then
Mm-hmm.
it's showing me higher one.
Mm-hmm. That's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's okay. All right. So this Dow. And in Q, same thing with NQ. NQ, I was hoping that we would take this liquidity right here before we tried to move up, but we didn't. We end up just pushing on up and taking out that high and setting a new high up here somewhere. Um, and then we left this liquidity and we actually set up some liquidity just a little higher, somewhere around this area right here. We left some money that's sitting around waiting for us to try to take. So you'll see that's kind of what I'm looking at for us to take some of this liquidity out, uh, while we may be going sideways, take the liquidity, then run up higher. That's kind of what I'm looking up for the move on NQ going into next week. But I was surprised that we left this liquidity here, right at the 23,750 area, 23,750 area. I was kind of surprised we left that before we went up, but we did, and we end up making a higher low right here. We end up making this higher low right here, and so we now got a nice little trend line liquidity all the way through here. So we could continue this out where this, hold on, we could continue this out. Oh, why am I, this is not working? We could continue out something like this where we see in price high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low, and just continue on to this trend because now we starting to kind of channel a little bit on this setup, but that is a possibility. And if we made a low right here, that would line up with this trend line following this trend line if we made a low here. So that's a good possibility, that we do take that route. But if we don't, again, we could that's where this projection line up. This projection is if we take the liquidity and bounce, and then this projection is if we sweep the liquidity all the way and then try to bounce from there. Right? That's what we need to watch out for. And this is a good week to do it because we got a strong catalyst. We can see them sell off at one of these points and try to buy either here or here, which makes perfect sense. But either way, we taking out this high. We have the next quarter point at 24,250, and then we have another quarter point at 24,500. And those will be the primary targets. So it's pretty simple on on NQ. Um, worst case scenario, we sweep all these lows and we try to bounce. But I think the overall trend is still gonna be bullish. And you can see if we go take out all of the drawings, you can see on the daily. Again, we just took out this high. We we traded down into this bullish candle on Friday, and we held around just above the middle of the candle and pushed on up and started to settle. So if we do open up Monday to Wednesday, we likely will close inside of this on Monday and then try to see if we can aim in taking out this high. On the weekly, it's saying the same thing. If we just took out the high, we got this huge engulfing candle. It's very doubt. It's not probable that we take out this low. The probability is pretty low at this point, so that's why we still got to keep pushing on up, even though it seems like it should be selling off, but we can't trade against it at this point. So, um, don't fight it. Just use it to your advantage. So, this is in Q. I was only able to trade on Monday, and that was it. I took this little sale right here, inside of here on ES and Q, but I couldn't trade on Tuesday and Wednesday because of work, and then Thursday it just wasn't lining up. Thursday and Friday just didn't line up with what I was looking for. Um, so nothing on that setup on for the rest of the week. And so now we get to ES. ES, same situation. Uh, we were looking for price to either push on up through or push down and then buy up. But we got something a little different. We had price just go straight up, push up higher, and make a new high. We didn't really have any entry on this move up. It was kind of, you just have to buy it, and that's it. We left this liquidity. We left this liquidity here, and we set some liquidity higher up in the move. That's a horrible dollar sign, but that's what that was. We set some liquidity somewhere along these lines, right? That was ugly, right? um, and we just took out this high. So now we got a new all-time high. And I think we got our all-time high right around 6090 area, which 6590 area. So we'll see that on the chart when we pull it up. So projections are still lining up. It's just sometimes they line up, but we just don't get the clean entries because price is still doing what it want to do, regardless. Um, so here is ES. You can see we got that's that liquidity I mentioned right here. And then we even got higher level of liquidity right here, and we got this daily fair value gap right here. And our high came in around 6606. I'm sorry. We closed around 6590 area. So we actually got a high that was higher than I just said, but pretty much, within the 10, 20 point range. So What I'm looking for on ES is similar to what we were seeing on NQ. Either we got a little trend line liquidity too on NQ, which you can see if you mark these lows from here. Little trend line liquidity, where we got some taps all the way up through here. And we got a high here, but we got a channel inside of that range. So we got a nice little channel, and we keep tapping it as we push higher. So what I'm thinking is, until we see this us come out of this channel, we just got to keep following it on up, right? There's nothing so far that's given us any criteria to look for anything outside of that. So before we actually like start to look for, any major sales setups, again, you can see on the daily, look at this. This was a high. That was last week's high. We took it out on this candle. And we got a strong close above that candle on Thursday. And then Friday, all we did was trade down inside of this body and just really no downside notion like it wants to sell off. It did a look, this little candle is getting eaten up by this engulfing candle. And for us to try to start looking for sales, we need to close below this engulfing candle. And until then, you got to kind of just keep your eyes on the buy for the most part. If you do get a sale, it's likely short term, nothing major, right? And if you do get a sale, I'm thinking you're gonna get like, maybe 10 to 20 points out of ES, maybe 50 to 100 on NQ, you know, as a, you know, as a real target, you know. But on the upside move, you got more upside than you have downside. So your upside move might give you 30 points on ES, or 30 to 40 points or more on ES. And then on NQ, you may be looking at 200 to 250 on the upside. So you just gotta kind of be patient on the setup. Then on the weekly, it's the same thing on the weekly. Huge weekly candle. Worst case scenario, maybe we come down to 65.42 inside of this area, but I don't see us closing out below that. Let me just look at the monthly just for giggles, but it's looking like we still following that push up. This is what I'm looking for ES. Targets at 66.25, 66.50, and then the all-time high is what I'm looking at for the targets. And then we can just extend this out. This is probably not going to last long. This will probably get taken out early into the week. But after that, we got this Friday low sitting at the high of this daily fair value gap. And that's going to be pretty much the main thing. Like, I'm looking to see if we're going to try to hold inside of this fair value gap, which you can see right here from this high to this low. There's your fair value gap. See if we want to hold inside of here and then start to push up from there. But that's pretty much the best way to kind of look at next week. And it'll probably be typically um typically you'll have your typically you'll have your choppiness on the Fed weeks up until the release. If you do get a move before then, you just got to kind of take it with a grain of salt. because usually, whatever the moves that happens before that, they're usually going to sweep that move and, run it into a different direction because they're just, taking liquidity. And then they'll like clean the liquidity on both sides. So, you just kind of gotta um take that first move of the week with a grain of salt because it's typically not what you're gonna actually get. Um so here is ES. And a couple other things for this week. I posted some videos and in the group, and I posted a couple posts on on Facebook and IG or whatnot. And I just thought that it was interesting because one of the things that stood out to me the most is just talking about I'm shifting subject. I'm off the charts now because I've gone over everything. But just one of the things that I got out of studying over that this weekend was it's just interesting to know, like, and we all have a lot of knowledge, right? We all have a lot of knowledge about trading. And
Mhm.
I honestly believe that I know for a fact, and not even honestly believe, but I think we have more than enough information about how to trade. I
Yeah.
can say that wholeheartedly and know that. And I want you guys to like work on the act of trading and not so much studying the charts, but whether you demoing, whether you are live trading in your own account or prop account, I just want us to start focusing more on the act of actually trading and like not focus so much on losing, right? On losing trades, but more so focus on what we are on pressing the button. I don't, and it's not to say that, we don't trade enough or we don't get our setups enough, but when you see your setup, I don't care what the circumstances are, take your trade. Like, don't doubt yourself anymore, right? Because we have enough information to know like what we see on the charts works. What we see on the setups, they work. So when you see it, don't hesitate. If you lose, but don't hesitate on taking your setup, right? Um, because this is really the what's gonna get us past the point of where we are, you know, trading for a living and making a lot of money out of the trading because we are not acting enough in this skill set. We are learning all day long, and it feels like we are doing stuff because we're learning, but we're not necessarily acting enough on those skill sets. Um, and Jim Rohn talked about it in one of the videos that I sent you guys that we have to do more activities versus absorbing. Absorb and gather the knowledge, respond to it, let that sink in and let that knowledge be something that you can retrieve, retrieve, and then reflect on it. Like go over your notes, make sure you understand what you're doing, but you got to act more than anything. You got to do the activity. You got to do the activity. And then you got to do more sharing. Like share with people what you know. Like cuz it teaches you how to use everything and it makes you more confident in what you're doing. And I think I told y'all this before. Sometimes I trade better when I'm doing these weekly sessions and because I'm on the charts more. I am more diligent in what I'm looking at. I'm going through a process more adamantly because I know I have you guys that are looking at this information. So I can't just be like, just not giving my all into considering what I'm looking for because I know I'm not just doing it for myself. I'm doing it for somebody else. And if there's somebody that's around you or you make your own little group, you know, get something like that going. So that way everything you know can be reinforced by you talking about it through to the other people that you know. It can be reinforced by you having your own daily sessions with people, weekly session with people that you know that want to learn how to trade, because it'll only make you better by talking about this more often and being in front of the charts more often and helping somebody else on this more often. And if, like I said, if it's just the three of us, if it's just the two of us, or if it's just two people, one person, right? You just being there for them to help them through their process helps you out more than anything. And it's not being selfish or being, insensitive to what they're going through. But I always say, give me more than one reason to do one thing. And that way, if the first reason doesn't work to make me do the original thing, I got another reason to do it. Like every time I leave the house, I like to have 5 reasons to leave the house, because I want to make sure that, if I didn't leave the house for the first reason, I got a list of other things I could be doing that gets me where I'm trying to go, right? And you got to always kind of think like that because you never know. Like that one reason why you think you're doing something, it might not be enough to push you the next day. It might not be enough to get you through what you're going through right now, right? So let me give myself multiple reasons to do one thing. Everybody always talk about having their why. And your why could be your family, and that could be your only why that you need, right? But sometimes you might need more than your family to push you through whatever goal you're trying to complete. Come up with however number of whys you can come up with, right? Make it personal. Make it something that you need for yourself. Make it something for you that you need for your family. Make it something you need for your friends, your close relatives, Make it something that for your health. You're not just trading because you want money to help your family out. You are trading also for the freedom to live and eat how you want to eat because if you are in a better predicament financially, you can eat better food. You got to trick yourself into giving you those additional whys. Sometimes family just not enough. Sometimes friends not might not be enough. Sometimes financial freedom might not be enough. So give yourself multiple whys so that way, if that why is not working today, one of the other ones can come and kick in for you. So I don't have anything else. Um,
Yeah.
that
Love it.
Yeah, that was a great video, Corey, and thank you for sharing it because I needed it. I needed to hear it. And then I like how you dropped that video in the notes and it summarized everything. So I read over it too. So I appreciate it. But I think that's where I really struggle when it comes to not just trading, it's other personal goals that I have is that I'm not looking at the overall bigger picture of like you said, giving myself multiple reasons as to why I'm doing what I need to do.
hmm
Like I might always just use, it's for my daughter, but my daughter don't really need that right now, and so I give
hmm
myself an excuse
hmm
because I'm able to do the minimal thing, and I'm like, so it's like,
Exactly.
go ahead.
I was just saying it. I was just agreeing with you.
Oh yeah, because it's like I just need to look at the bigger picture, right, for myself, and and push myself, because it's been, gosh, one of the biggest things. My goal is like, okay, I want to be a 5:30 a.m. person. I still haven't been that. And so I can give myself multiple reasons to get up, study the charts, get ready for my trading for the day, kind of plan for that, work out, eat a healthier, balanced meal. And I have not started that, not once. And I was like, man, I got to do better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I was like really just sitting down today and thinking about that. Like, what is it that I'm really fighting for? Like, what's my main goals, my purpose, and what am I really trying to achieve? Not just for me, but I gotta think about not just my mom, my daughter. I gotta think about others I could be helping. And
Mm-hmm.
so that was really just good. And I just journaled that today for myself, because I was like, I have to do better. I have to do better, not just coming up with these great ideas in my head, but
Mm-hmm.
executing. Like you said, put that action to work. If it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work out, keep going. Just keep
Mm-hmm.
going.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give up. Um, so yeah, it was really good. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And like he mentioned also, like you have to put your mask on first. And
Yeah.
uh,
Facts.
I
Mhm.
like that because it says
Mhm.
a lot without saying a lot. And it's pretty much implying like whatever you trying to do for anybody else, do it for yourself first. Then you do it for your family. Then you can do it for anybody else, and then you can change the world. Like I like the way he put that because we keep thinking that we got time, you know. We keep thinking that we can just put it off and we'll be able to come back to this, and we can't think like that no more, you know. Is we are like, and none of us know young spring chickens no more, you know.
I don't know what you talking about.
So
I'm seeing a spring chicken on display.
spring chickens don't hurt going upstairs. Spring chickens don't get winded climbing the stairs, you know. So, you know,
Facts.
we can't keep putting this off, man. And we gotta work harder on ourselves because, you know, and a lot of our issue is just simply discipline.
Discipline.
It's
Consistency.
consistently applying discipline.
Yep. I love that. Oh, I'm writing that down. Ooh, bars.
So I think we need to do personal, like a group challenge where everybody comes up with some type of personal improvement that they do, and we make sure that we holding each other accountable for it. So I'm gonna tell you mine right now, and mine is to find some type of personal development quote every single day. And we could do a 30-day sprint, 90-day sprint where, you know, hey, I got to post a post or something about that I've found, newly found every day that I research and then look up, you know. I want to do the 5:30 thing too, but I don't know if I'm there yet. But I do want to do that too. So, you know, I if you want to do that, if that's yours, we can try.
Yeah, but it was funny because I was listening to like Jay Shetty and Mel Robbins about like just gradually do that. Like you don't have to. Where people tend to fail is when they try to go jump in and go straight to 5:30. All right, if
Mhm.
I only get up about 6:30, then just change it 30 minutes. Go do it for 30 days straight.
You know what? You're right too. But I'm so weird though. Like I, I'm no person that can just do it. I can do the 5:30, and I'll do it good for like maybe 2 or 3 weeks. But then I'll have that one day where I'll be like, oh, it's a cheat day. I get to sleep in on this day. Then the next day will turn into a cheat day, and then it'll be me trying to go back into it, and that's what be messing me up. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing happens with me. Like since so many days my health issues are going on, right? So I thought sometime every year for 1 week I do detox, body detox, right? So this time I started and I did like now I'm taking one meal a day and like few detox thing. So I did 1 month, and after that I went for some test, and that came good. Then after that I thought, okay, today I'll eat ice cream.
Yep. Yep. How it
And
is.
yeah, and then I started that, and now it's 1 week, and every day I'm eating something.
Now it ain't just ice cream. Now it's
Yeah. This
now
is
it's
my
cake.
I can do that because I did a 1 month good, so I can do it now. So I can understand that thing
Yeah.
every time it comes in mind.
Yep.
And once you broke that, means you broke that.
It's
Mm.
broke
Yeah,
sometimes. You just can't
yeah,
do nothing about it.
yeah.
And it's
So
weird because certain things I can just cold turkey is I stop. Not doing it no more.
mhm,
Right.
yeah.
And I have no problem, stopping certain things, but then there's other things like making myself do things. I've seen myself wake up at 5:30 before. So I know I
Mhm.
can do it. It's just why can't I do it now?
Right.
Yeah, say like same thing happened with me. Like when this year started in Jan and Feb, I was too like energized. Right? Okay, I'll do these things. Everything I am doing good. So I was like means I was doing everything like a robot. 5:30 there's 6 o'clock there's 6:30 there's. But after 2 months, I then my health issue started. After that, okay, today I can sleep because I'm not well.
Yep.
I can sleep. So it broke again. So, but good thing is that there is one book like Slow Productivity. So that time I was reading that book. So I thought it's okay. I am doing something every day. So it is slow, but I am doing. So it's okay. I'm good.
Yeah. We
Mhm.
we gotta get past those though.
Mhm.
Now we gotta get past it, man. We can't be short sighted. We gotta look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
So that's my challenge to my two buddies on this call right now and
Mhm.
myself is where can we make improvements and
Yeah.
Mm.
how can we make ourselves act on the charts more than we doing right now, right? For
Yeah.
me is placing more pending orders, right? I'm
Mhm.
I'm placing pending orders, right? And if it get hit, it get hit. I don't care at this point. Like I know that I've justified my setup, right?
Mhm.
I've done the research to say that this has at least a 60% probability that this should trigger, right? And I have at least that same amount of percentage to say that, hey, if I set up a buy, it should hit my main target,
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
I should at least go up 1 to 1, at least that, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
we all know that, right? We know that that is the case. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I'm not gonna be afraid to put a pin in, or I'm not gonna be afraid to let the charts do what they do, and that's how we, can get on the. That's how I can do the action more, by using more pending orders. That's one thing I came up with. The other thing is if I see my setup, take my setup. Don't second guess. If it don't work, it don't work. If it does, it does. And that's it. Don't think about how much I'm gonna lose and just focus on the fact that, hey, I put in a certain amount of risk. I know my setup works. If this is the right trade for this, it'll do what it needs to do. If it's not the right trade on this, I'll see the signs to exit the trade, and then I can just focus on how do I mitigate the loss if I lose. Or if I'm up, how do I keep as much of this profit as I can? Do I start moving to break even? Do I start moving up to the last low or the last high? Do I take a partial right now and let the rest run, or do I close out the whole thing? That's how we got to approach it. So
Yep.
yeah, so
All
yeah.
right, I'm gonna have my one thing that I'm going to improve over the next 30 to 60 days by the end of the day. By the end of the tonight.
Okay, I was gonna say by Wednesday, but all right.
No, my
Let's
problem
make
is I got
let's
so
do
many.
five.
I have
Let's do
so
five.
5 o'clock.
5 different things.
Oh, 5 different things.
And,
Oh,
and and base them off of biggest priority to smallest.
okay. I
I
like that.
gave y'all my first one.
Oh,
I gave y'all my first one. I'm gonna try to find a new video or something else to read where I can gain some self-improvement out every day, and I'm gonna make a post every single day.
I love that.
That's gonna be mine. I'm gonna study it. I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna study it, reflect on it, and then I'm gonna post it every single day.
Yeah, I love that.
What
And
will
I'm
I?
gonna send y'all a link to it in the if I find it in a video on YouTube, I'm gonna send you the link to it. If not, I'll just post it.
Got it. Okay.
That's my first one. I gotta find 4 more.
Okay. Now I'm thinking what is mine.
You gotta come up with it. I'm saying Wednesday, but Tree says she can get this done by tonight. So
Because I already got the list. I need to do what you said, put it in order because I have the 5:30 a.m. I need to lose weight fast and change up my diet for me and my daughter because we did good for a while. Like you said, literally I
why
would not go buy any of that stuff. And then now
why
I'm
you doing it
buying.
fast, Tree? Where you about to go? You about to go back on vacation?
No,
I'm just messing with you. I'm
no,
messing.
I'm not going on vacation, but it's just like you said, when you know better, you're supposed to do better. And it's like,
Yeah,
I know I'm not doing better. I'm doing worse. It's like certain things I know when I eat it, it's like it completely changed my mood. It completely changed how I feel. So why I
yeah,
continue to eat it.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
it's just so many things. So like I'm gonna do what you said. I got the list. I just need to put it in order.
yeah. I thought you was headed back to Jamaica.
No, even though I would love to go, I'm trying to get to Thailand next year.
Hey, I am too. I
Yeah.
am.
Oh yeah, you're going to the end of this year though, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Where are you going? Like, where are some locations you going?
Let me stop this recording because I don't want that on
Oh
YouTube.
yeah. Oh dang! I thought you stopped recording.